My husband slept with my niece, whom I raised as a daughter. Now my husband keeps apologizing. My niece believes she deserves my husband because it is fair, making my husband slap her. Now her father is an alcoholic. My brother is demanding money for sleeping with his daughter and treating her like a prostitute, while my niece falsely accuses my husband of suffering and abusing her. My husband slept with my niece while I was on a business trip. This niece is my brother's daughter, and she has been 23 for over a year. I felt she was looking way too much at my husband, 40, but my mind couldn't accept it, and I told myself I was crazy. I know she admires him. She is extremely vocal about it. I did nothing because I didn't see anything suspicious on his end. To be honest, my brother is a loser and an inept father. Drinks, gambles, and is typically unemployed. My husband frequently collects him from the hospital and pays for his liver medication. When my niece was a child, I often took care of her, cooked for her, and prepared her for school. Her mother left with someone else, abandoning her with her father. My husband is the polar opposite of him. He takes care of his appearance, runs a successful business, and employs 45 people. She looks up to him and says he taught her a lot about business. The real line was crossed when she insisted on ironing his suit one day. He always wears suits and ties, so she wanted to prepare them for him. I was preoccupied with my 7-year-old daughter, who was having difficulty adjusting to her new school, and I ignored it. She helped me through a very stressful period. I told her I'd just order food every day, but she wanted to be helpful, so she said she cooked what he liked to eat. She never asked what we wanted, only what he wanted. And 3 days ago, I discovered he slept with her while I was away on business. I allowed my daughter to join them in the house, but he took her to my mother. I received an anonymous text, which turned out to be from one of her friends. I hoped it was a stupid joke, but when I told him I knew he slept with her, he began apologizing and explaining that it happened only once, while they were drinking wine. I'm not sure what to do now. Edit. This will be added to my post. Another reason I believe he didn't groom her is that this isn't her first time sleeping with a married man. She did it last year too. I spoke with her back then, and she was extremely proud of what she accomplished. She was not looking for love. She just fancied sleeping with a powerful man. That man was also of high social standing. In the military, it's her thing. She regards these types of men as superior and deserving. She never gave a chance to a guy her age and looked down on him. She is not like many contemporary young women who aspire to be independent and strong. She knows she is attractive and is playing the beauty card. She is very feminine, to the point where her voice is always soft and low, as if she wants to appear submissive and good girl. She never went clubbing, for example, because that is not something good girls do. She does not want a driver's license because she believes that driving a car is masculine. Comment from OPI for me. Is she? Yeah. Typical angry wife at her mistress. Call it so. But I helped raise this child. I was a mother figure for her. I did not feed him. I didn't help him with his homework. And I didn't prepare him for school. My husband slept with my niece. I had to return home to find a complete mess. I've got an update. My mother tried to contact her again, and Anastasia, my niece, told her that she hates me and has for years, that I have everything and do not have to work for it. That she was abandoned by her mother, pitied, and even mocked at school by others because she has a loser, drunk father. I was envied and admired because I had the ideal life, career, and husband. She was ashamed and pitied. I also needed to return home because denying my husband access to his daughter would have consequences in court. I discovered a mess in my bedroom. My husband was cleaning up with my mother, Anastasia, and wanted to put her stuff in the closet. Mother stated that my husband needed to grab her hands and immobilize her because she was acting crazy. Hit him, and he eventually hit her to stop her from scratching and kicking. My mother. Confirm? She did. Attack her. My husband called a doctor to give her something to help her relax, and it worked. He begs me for forgiveness. He was always the arrogant, confident man who was constantly begged for something by those around him. I've never seen him so ruined. My mother cried and told me that this is not the first time she has attacked her when she is angry, but she has never done anything about it because the girl has already suffered enough, and having something like that on her record could harm her future even further. Also, my brother continues to be a complete jerk, and I asked my husband if he would give him more money as a result of this. It almost sounds like he wants her to become a prostitute. Okay, maybe it's too much, but it certainly goes that way. I just want to stop talking to each of them. Comment from OP because my husband had some strange feelings for or about her. He didn't want her around our daughter because she sets a bad example. At the same time, he liked how feminine she is and thought we helped her too much. He admired her for outperforming her parents, but he also suspected she was flawed. Update 2. I believe I am allowed to post this because it has been 3 days since my original post. However, in order to follow the rules of this sub, which have helped me cope so much, I will stick to my own profile with any updates. I had a conversation with my husband. He said he didn't believe she was that unstable. Great. So you left her because you believed she was stable? How does this help? She wants him. I had already blocked her phone number, but she texted me from a new one, which I also blocked. We all call her crazy, but it's the crazy that keeps sex interesting. And he will return for more. I honestly can't believe this is my niece. She expressed that she deserves him more than I do. I do not deserve a man like him, that I deserved one like her father. My mother is currently in a sensitive situation. She claimed that the girl was hysterical around both of them. She and my husband. Neither wanted to call the police because it would raise so many questions about what happened between them. He does not want his associates to find out. And my mother? Well, I'm still her granddaughter. She didn't want to cause her problems. This is why, at the end, my husband slapped her so hard that she fell to the floor. However, it calmed her down because she became scared and covered her face. He literally told her that if she didn't leave the house, he would slap her again. It felt as if I knew this from my mother. Only physical force, or the threat of being beaten or slapped by him, caused her to take a step back. My brother is drinking because nothing else matters to him, and he has even asked my brother for more money as a result of this, and in a sick way above everything. Not like what you did, more like because you gotta keep my daughter. It's almost as if he thinks his daughter sleeping with my husband was a way to get under his skin or demonstrate his gratitude. It's all in my head. Nobody has confirmed this hypothesis, but these are the vibes I get from him. I even wondered if my brother knew what she was doing. You suspected my mother, but she probably didn't quote she is a broken woman because her son is a complete waste of space. However, she has always been very open with me about everything. A comment that the OP believes will explain why she is so angry at her niece. I'm not trying to defend him. I've been honest with you from the beginning. I feel more betrayed by her than by him. I feel how I feel. You're not sure why I'm so obsessed with her. I'm confused. Why do you have such a strong desire for me? To simply ignore her? Yes. I feel more betrayed by her because he has cheated in the past. I didn't really care who it was with. My problem was with him. But I did so much more for my niece than for him. When my daughter was born, she was extremely envious, so I treated her like she was my own child. Even going so far as to throw her a birthday party so she wouldn't be disappointed that I did it solely for my daughter. She lied to me about being ill. She stated that her doctor is concerned she has cancer. She even informed her colleagues at the university that she has cancer. It was all BS. This happened 2 years ago, and my husband threatened to divorce me if I did not put distance between us and her. Another comment from OPI. Yes, I hate her, both of them, but I hate them even more. I took my daughter to see my mother because I needed to leave the hotel and pack everything, and she was there. She came after I left and began yelling at my mother in front of my daughter, claiming that my husband had seen her, after sending me dozens of messages about how wonderful and kinky their sex was. Now he has seen her, and she intends to go to the police and claim that he saw it and slapped her. I simply can't. I want to leave the city, but I can't take my minor daughter with me without his permission. There are no comments. Comment on the conversation with my husband while I was at the hotel. I spoke with him on the phone and asked for his version of events. I told him that while I am willing to believe they had sex once, I am not naive enough to believe there was nothing prior to this with great difficulty. He confessed and showed me texts from her, so I believe she spent the night at our house while I was away. This was 2 months ago. She texted him that his father had thrown her out of the house. This was the reason she chose to live separately. paying rent because they had an argument and he pushed her against the wall. It was the middle of the night, and she texted him to see if she could sleep at our house. I read the text messages. All of the screenshots were proof. He picked her up. We currently have 3 empty rooms. She fell asleep in one of them. This, however, cannot be proved. He claimed nothing happened, but they drank in the kitchen until 4 a.m. and talked about her father. And she simply told him that she wishes her father were more like him. But he didn't think much about it. He said he took it as an appreciation, and after emptying his glass, he fell asleep. Comment confirming that she isn't divorcing. Some have accused me, but I am the worst, because instead of protecting her from him when she was a teenager, I allowed him to stare at her. Where did you get that from? I won't forgive him. I won't divorce him. Please leave me alone without labeling me as insane. Yes, his infidelity is not my main concern right now. I kept this title for the update because it all began here. I'm even more hurt by the fact that the girl I adored not only desired my husband, but also despised me. I had no idea she despised me so much. She despised my daughter, who also adored her. I assumed she adored her too. They spent a lot of time together. My niece spent hours playing with her, and now I've discovered she's disgusted with me. I don't think you understand how terrible this is. And what a shock. Also, I learned that my mother has hidden her instability and what she has been saying about me. His infidelity and betrayal were hurtful. But you didn't ask about our relationship, how close we are, or how important he is to me. She had a greater impact on me than he did. After that first cheating episode, I believe a significant portion of my love died. But we did not divorce. We stayed for the child. I know it wasn't a good idea, but it worked for us. I still loved him, but not as much as before, because he harmed me. But I adored my niece more than him. And the fact that she slept with him is terrible. But hearing her tell me how she feels about me hurts even more. Second story. My fiancé cheated on me, so I called off the wedding. She told me she hates. Then she lied to her parents, who yelled at me and demanded I man up, so I expose her infidelity. That is how her parents shamed and disowned her. They're kicking her out of their house. So this is a long and sad story that I need to vent because it has been extremely difficult for me to deal with thus far. After 2 years of dating, I proposed to my now ex-fiancé, who is 23 years old. We met through mutual friends at work. We started talking like friends. We went on dates before officially beginning our relationship on New Year's Eve. During the beginning of our relationship, she mentions Marvin. According to her, Marvin has always had a crush on her. And during the first few months of our relationship, he texted her several times, asking her to leave me and give him a shot. We used to talk about how pathetic this guy was, and how she hates him for suggesting she would leave me for him. I should clarify that I am not special. I'm a 54-inch Asian nerdy guy. Time passes, and after 2 years of dating, I decide to propose to her. So, on New Year's Eve, I gave her the ring and she said yes in front of her entire family. I quote, "V got some money saved." She does not work, so I began looking for venues, catering, invitations, and decor. I spent a lot of money because her parents are unable to help with the expenses, but I have enough savings to get through this comfortably. One day, while running errands, we started talking about having a threesome. We are in our 20s, so there are plenty of things we want to try. We talked for a while about how we could find someone, and she quickly said, "I have someone in mind." I asked who, and she said, "Marvin." I knew that was the first red flag, but I let it go. I asked why, and she simply answered, she felt sexually attracted to him. I questioned why she would say she hates him first, and then choose him as her first choice for a threesome. And she says it's only a one-time thing. So I told her it was fine, but we needed to talk later to establish rules and limits, and I wanted to speak with him personally before giving the green light. During the next few days, she acts very excited and comes to me to show me hotels. When will we meet with him, and how exciting is everything? I told her we needed to talk things out first because it isn't as simple as it sounds, and we needed to set some boundaries. She then relaxes for a day or two before revisiting the subject. We got to the point where she insisted so much and brought up the subject so many times that I had to tell her that unless she calmed down, no threesome would happen. She apologized and said I was correct, but something didn't feel right. That afternoon, we were taking a nap, and while she was sleeping, I went through her phone and discovered that she had been cheating on me with him for several months. They had been meeting while I was at work, and she even sent them one of those online BDSM tests to see if his kinks matched hers. To say I was furious would be an understatement. She awoke as I was checking my phone, and I confronted her. She began crying, apologizing, and explaining that she had no idea what she was doing. I packed my belongings and stormed out to stay in a hotel. That night, I received a call from her parents, who complained that I was ruining the engagement and acting like a baby, despite the fact that I was the one who brought up the threesome and that her daughter was not to blame. I hung up without saying anything and began canceling everything I planned for the wedding. She called the next day to apologize and invite me back. Her entire family is texting me, telling me to man up because I was at fault and not break the engagement. Aita for canceling everything. Aita has no consensus, but the OP was not present. Comments come in one end here. Simply tell her family it is their fault. They never taught her to count. How else could she have gotten the threesome wrong? Comment or two. And NTA. She probably told her family you brought up a threesome and then got upset with her for choosing someone to be the third. She probably did not mention that she had been cheating on you. Send them a single text. She has been cheating on me for several months. My decision is final. Stop texting me and block them. Update. Hello, everyone. I appreciate your advice. I appreciate both the encouragement and the mean comments. Both perspectives were useful. Now, before I continue, let me address a few issues. Yes, the post contains grammatical errors. English isn't my first language. My ex stopped working to attend college. We met at work, but she quit. We moved in together. Yes. My now ex-fiancé informed her parents that we were breaking up because I suggested the threesome and became angry when she mentioned Marvin, and her parents believed her. Yes, I needed reassurance that I was not at fault. I've been conditioned to be a doormat my entire life, so standing up for myself is difficult. Here quote S an update. After seeing all of your messages, I contacted my FIL, so we agreed to meet at a nearby mall to discuss why I ended the engagement. I had a good relationship with him, and we both had similar interests and hobbies, so I figured we could talk. We met, and despite his anger, he agreed to listen. I took screenshots of my ex-fiancé's conversations with Marvin and showed them to him. After reviewing everything he told me, my ex told them a completely different story, according to what he told me. My ex came to them crying, telling them that I was breaking the engagement because I wanted to have a threesome, and when she chose Marvin as the third, I snapped at her. He also mentioned that Marvin had been going to check on my ex. My ex had been staying with them since we broke up, so we went to my apartment and packed all of her belongings before moving her out. I kept the ring, which was also in the apartment. We're on our way to drop off everything for her right now. I quote, I'll keep you all updated. Comments combine into one. As Shakespeare once said, all is well that ends well. At least her family now understands the truth. Commenter 2. Cheating and lying go together. I'm not surprised she lied to her parents. Good on you for having proof. Commenter 3. I'm glad you got the ring back and moved her out. Now you must discontinue all contact with her and her family. Move on to meet someone else. Update. Hello guys, I'm back. I understand you've been waiting for this update. I had to create a new account because I was shadow banned on the previous one. I'm sorry for the delay. So, after picking up my ex's belongings, Phil and I drove to his house. The ride there was awkward, to say the least. When we arrived, we walked in and saw Mill, my ex, and guess who else? Effing Marvin. Everyone was in the living room. My ex seemed to have been crying for a while. Marvin was hugging her, and Mel was sitting next to her holding a box of tissues. My Mill noticed me enter and began asking Phil what I was doing there. He responded that we all needed to discuss the situation, and he came to clarify a few points. We all sat down, and Marvin was about to leave the room when Phil said, Please stay. You are also a part of this. Marvin sat down, but you could tell he wasn't doing well. His right leg was bouncing, and he avoided making eye contact with me or my ex. Phil started saying that I agreed to continue the engagement, which made Mill and my ex happy. However, I did have one condition. Marvin must show him the WhatsApp conversation he had with my ex. At that point, I was stunned. I was about to argue. However, I did understand something. Most likely, my ex deleted our conversation with Marvin. However, there was a chance Marvin didn't. Marvin protested, but my FIL insisted and asked him to do it for her daughter. My ex and Marvin exchanged glances, while my Mill looked quietly at Phil. Finally, Marvin stood up and left without saying anything more. My ex started crying again, and Phil told her to stop. He claimed I showed him screenshots of their conversations and that he was disappointed to be accused of cheating us. Mel was shocked, so I showed her the screenshots as well. They screamed at her. How could she do such a thing while also lying to them? Finally, Phil went to unload her belongings in the driveway and told her she needed to find another place to stay because she was no longer welcome there. Phil apologized to me and said he wanted to stay in touch to make sure I was okay. I returned home after all of that feeling empty. I believe it was the adrenaline wearing off. I received one call from my ex, but I did not answer. I blocked the number and instructed security at my building to trespass if she came by. I posted about what happened on Facebook and Instagram, including screenshots of the conversation to ensure she couldn't misrepresent the situation to friends and family. I will receive the majority of my money after canceling the venue, catering, and other expenses, so I plan to relocate to another state. I had an STD test and was clean, so I'll sell the ring to recoup my costs. So far, that is the update. I don't think I'll be updating this anymore, but I'd like to thank everyone for their positive and negative comments. Hopefully, everything is better now. Comments. Commenter 1 is NTA. You made the correct decision to cancel your wedding following your ex's betrayal. The way your FIL handled the situation is admirable, holding your ex responsible for her actions. It's encouraging to hear you're getting tested and focusing on your health. Moving forward and beginning a new chapter is the best thing you can do for yourself. Third story. I ruined 46 years of my life. I now regret it. A life lesson from OPI Tiffle, more like a more complete life. Really? Hi, my name is John. I've been lurking for a while now, but I've finally created an account to post this. I need to vent about myself. I'm a 46-year-old banker who has spent his entire life doing the opposite of what he wants. My dreams and passions have vanished after 26 years of working a steady 9-to-5, 6-day-a-week schedule. I repeatedly chose the safe path in everything, which eventually shaped who I was. Today, I discovered that my wife has been cheating on me for the past 10 years. My son feels nothing for me. I realized I had missed my father's funeral for nothing. I did not finish my novel about traveling the world and helping the homeless. When I was in my late teens and early 20s, I assumed that everything I knew about myself was certain. If my younger self had met me now, I would have punched myself in the face. I'll explain how those dreams were crushed soon. Let's begin with a description of myself when I was 20. It seems like only yesterday that I was convinced I was going to change the world. People loved me, and I loved others. I was innovative, creative, spontaneous, risk-taking, and excellent with others. I had 2 dreams. The first project was to write a utopian dystopian novel. The second was traveling around the world and assisting the poor and homeless. I'd been dating my wife for 4 years by then. Young love. She adored my spontaneity, energy, and ability to make others laugh and feel loved. I knew my book would change the world. I'd show the dark and twisted side, showing my viewers that everyone thinks differently and that people never believe what they do is wrong. When I was 20, I had already read 70 pages. At 46, I'm still 70 pages in. By the age of 20, I had spent time backpacking through New Zealand and the Philippines. I had planned to travel throughout Asia, then Europe, and finally America. I live in Australia, by the way. To date, I have only visited New Zealand and the Philippines. Now we can see where everything went wrong. My biggest regret? I was 20. I was the only child. I needed to remain stable. I needed to take that graduate job, which would require me to devote my entire life to the A97 job. What was I thinking? How could I live when the job became my life? After I got home, I'd eat dinner, get ready for the next day's work, and fall asleep around 10 p.m., wake up at 6 a.m. the next day. I don't remember the last time I made love to my wife. My wife admitted yesterday that she had been cheating on me for the past 10 years. 10 years? That seems like a long time, but I don't understand it. It does not even hurt. She claims it is because I have changed. I am not the same person I was. What have I done over the last 10 years? Outside of work, I can't say much. Not being a proper husband. Not being myself. Who am I? What has happened to me? I did not ask for a divorce, yell at her, or cry. I didn't feel anything. As I write this, I am tearing up. Not because my wife has been cheating on me, but because I have realized I have been dying inside. What happened to the fun-loving, risk-taking, energetic person inside me who wanted to change the world? I recall being asked on a date by the most popular girl in school, but declining her invitation from my now wife. I was very popular with the girls in high school and at university college, but I remained loyal. I didn't go exploring. I studied every day. Remember when I told you about backpacking and book writing? That was all during the first few years of college. I worked part-time and spent everything I'd earned. Now, I save every penny. I can't remember ever spending money on anything fun or for myself. What do I even want now? My father died 10 years ago. I recall receiving calls from my mother informing me that he was becoming increasingly ill. I was getting increasingly busy, and I was about to get a big promotion. I kept postponing my visit, hoping that he would hold on. He died, and I received my promotion. I haven't seen him in 15 years. When he died, I told myself it didn't matter that I hadn't seen him. As an atheist, I reasoned that death wouldn't matter anyway. What was I thinking? Rationalizing everything, making excuses to delay completing tasks, excuses, procrastination. Everything leads to one thing: nothing. I rationalized that financial security was the most important factor. I now realize that it is not. I regret wasting my energy, my passions, my youth. I regret allowing my job to take over my life. I regret being a bad husband and a money-making machine. I regret not finishing my novel, not traveling the world, not being emotionally available to my son, and being a damn emotionless wallet. If you are reading this and have a full life ahead of you, please do not procrastinate. Save your dreams for later. Enjoy your energy and passion. Avoid spending all of your free time on the internet, unless your passion requires it. Please make something of your life while you are young. Do not settle at 20. Do not forget your friends or family. Do not waste your life or your ambitions, as I did. Be like me. I apologize for the long post. I just needed to get it out there. Tell Dr. I realized I let procrastination and money keep me from pursuing my passions when I was younger, and now I'm dead inside, old and tired. Edit. I'm overwhelmed by the response. I appreciate your time. I posted on a whim, and did not expect the response I received. I must admit that reading what I had written earlier made me very emotional. I couldn't stop myself from noticing numerous spelling and grammatical errors, as well as phrases that I would not normally use. I don't think I've ever used capital locks so much. However, I will not be editing them. That doesn't do it justice. I quote read many of the responses and will do my best to answer the recurring question. I will say that the responses have given me a new perspective on life and humanity in general. Regardless of my situation, the amount of encouragement and humor continues to amaze me. I even laughed at some of the comments about my plans. I plan to significantly reduce my hours. I am relatively well off, so I am willing to take a new job if necessary. I'm going to talk to my wife. Divorce is not currently on my mind, and I hope that our communication and relationship improves. If not, so be it. We'll both move on. I see there are a lot of negative comments about her. However, in her defense, I must say that she is a truly lovely person. She is intelligent, empathetic, and has a wonderful sense of humor. I am not saying it was okay for her to do what she did, but she is not a bad person. I understand that we were both at fault. We allowed communication to dwindle, and so did our relationship. Being a head of the house entails so much more than just bringing in money. I will strive to provide my son with a steady balance of emotional connection, love, and financial stability. I know nothing about him. I honestly don't. I've unknowingly distanced myself from him. I only see him around dinner time. I don't remember having a proper conversation with him. It's quite ridiculous now that I think about it. I'm not sure how I'm going to start bonding with him. I've become quite a boring person. However, I intend to change that. I refuse to be a poor role model. I'll make sure he doesn't make the same mistakes I did with my family. I've decided to start watching his basketball and rugby games on Saturdays. I've never done it before because of work, but I'll make sure to do it now. Maybe I'll even play video games with him. I used to have a collection of Snares games and wasn't bad at them. Who knows? I might really connect with my son, and it appears to be something he enjoys. In regard to the novel and travel, I admit that I am a different person now than I was in my youth. I no longer have the creativity or desire to finish the novel. When I discovered the long-forgotten 70 pages, the writing was no longer mine. In 26 years, I have undergone significant changes. I'm sorry to disappoint you, as so many of you seemed eager to read it. However, I am equally excited to read the stories of all of you aspiring writers who have shared your passion. I might still go on family trips during the school holidays, perhaps with my wife on occasion. If she had me, I couldn't go back in time and see my father for the last time. My mother is still alive, but she lives in London, so visits are difficult. However, I will make an effort to visit her. I love my parents. I only wish I hadn't prioritized them in terms of the advice I gave. I stand by what I said. Live your life. Don't procrastinate or let lethargy hold you back. However, I may add, avoid living in poverty. I've had the good fortune to never have been hungry or homeless. I imagine that pursuing your goals and being happy would be much more difficult without adequate nutrition and living standards. I believe someone mentioned that their dream was financial stability. That, I believe, is as valiant as any dream. We are all unique and miss different things in our lives. Be honest with yourself, and you'll know what you truly want. I believe there were arguments about my language in university, college, or whatever. I'll clarify that, while Australians generally refer to tertiary education as a university here, I've made small efforts to cater to Americans, who are the primary users, I suppose. And yes, the university college was free when I went. I believe Australians can now attend them for free and then pay their fees after graduation. I believe I have addressed the general range of questions. P.S. Thank you for the gold. I appreciate it, but they aren't particularly valuable to me. Perhaps if Reddit ever adds a regifting gold feature, I will give them to some of the commenters, and please stop sending me gold. I also believe someone tried to make a donation to me. I can assure you that what I read was not about money. Please save it for yourself. I don't think I'll return to Reddit unless I hear about a way to regift gold. I appreciate your sympathy and time, and I wish the best for those in difficult situations. I believe in your capacity and ability to change, be happy, and help yourself, because after all, you are the person in the best position.